Hi there, Evan here at the Chronicle for Friday, December 10th, 2019, where the future starts today. It was Jobs Day in both Canada and the US. In this video, we're going to go over the key stats on both. First, we'll start with Canada. Full-time jobs are down 38,400 in November, and magically enough, full-time was up 38,400 in December. It had manufacturing up 3,400. Fair to say, that number is getting revised down. And the unemployment rate is now back down to 5.6%. Yes, with all the layoffs that were announced in December, the unemployment rate went down. Okay, I don't believe that one. My guess, the real unemployment rate still is at about the same number we reported back in November. One caveat on unemployment though. Towards the end of the first quarter, if not the second quarter of this year, you're going to start hearing year-over-year increases in unemployment in the mainstream media, meaning it's going to start hitting the masses. In fact, the unemployment rate for April last year was 5.6%. And with the unemployment rate back up to 5.9, that means starting March, April, or probably around May, it's going to start getting out in the news that unemployment in Canada is up year over year. So do keep that in mind. In fact, to summarize where the employment trend is still going in Canada, Capital Economics put out a great chart here. This is the 6-month annualized change in employment year over year. So what they do is take the forward 6 months, compare it with the same 6-month period from the year before. And even with this supposedly monster December jobs report, the 6-month annualized change is still barely positive, and it's all in public sector jobs, aka government jobs. Private sector job growth is still in the toilet. In fact, there is no job growth. It's still negative. To summarize all this, there's still a massive downturn going on in private sector jobs, no matter what you hear out there. Okay? In fact, most of that public sector job growth, aka government, was because of the election. That election is now 3 months in the rearview mirror. So the effects of that are going to wear off in that data also. And watch unemployment like a hawk. In a couple months' time, you're going to hear it throughout the mainstream media that unemployment is higher year over year in Canada. You want stuff to really hit the fan? Have that being reported. Enough of that. Now for the US. 145,000 jobs versus 160 expected. And as you can see my tweet on screen here from this morning, retail was up 41,000. That's definitely not going to hold. But that wasn't even the weakest part of the report. Aggregate weekly hours worked year over year is now showing the slowest growth rate since 2010. And average hourly earnings dropped to 2.9%, which by the way is the lowest rate in 18 months. So, we have the greatest economy ever, and employment is slowing not just in Canada and the US, but across the globe. Clearly someone's lying, and it's not the employment data. That's all I'm going to say on that. And the last thing I'm going to cover for today, the consumer insolvency report came out for November. It did show a bit of a slowdown in the year-over-year growth rate. It still is substantial. And also keep in mind as well, in the second half of 2018, that's when we started seeing the year-over-year increases. So the further we got along in 2019, the tougher and tougher the comparisons got. That's all I'm going to say on that. And lastly, before we go, if you haven't watched the 2020 predictions video from Debt Free in 30, I'll leave a link to the video in the description box below. They do predict a double-digit increase year over year in the amount of homeowners that are going to file for insolvency. I myself happen to agree with it. I think the unemployment spike is going to get it all going. That's all I'm going to say. Smash that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, follow both my Twitter accounts, and as always, my name is Evan. This is the Chronicle, where the future starts today.